viewers, you're welcome back once again to my channel. And on today's video, I'm actually going to be sharing with us when you need to change your soil and when you need to change your mulching materials in your snail farm. So this video is actually for those that are into the intensive system of snail farming, which is those that make use of the block pen and those that make use of the, let's say, wooden pen, and possibly those that are using tires for their farm, but not necessarily for those who are into greenhouse. And this is actually very important because most time they don't know when they ought to change their soil in the pen. They don't know when they ought to change the mulching material. Some even leave their own for as far as 1 year and some month interval, and they don't really understand if it's even important. They don't know the necessity or the importance of changing their soil or the mulching material in the farm. So first of all, you must understand that it's actually a known fact that the best soil for snail farming is actually the loamy soil. And the loamy soil is actually the black soil, the one we use for farming, the one you can actually see in the farm yards we use for farming. So in as much as we are saying that the best soil for snail farming is the loamy soil, if you also use the loamy soil and it is not damp in nature, then you are also getting it wrong. You are not doing the right thing. So it must be a loamy soil, and then secondly, it must be damp in nature. So anything apart from this might actually be wrong practice that you are actually practicing. And for you to get started in your snail farm, first thing you need to do what? You need to treat your soil. You need to, after treating the soil, introduce them to your pen, and then introduce your mulching material. After you must have also treated the mulching material, you now introduce them to your pen as well before you can now actually stock your snails. But the thing is that over time, you notice that the soil will lose its humidity. The soil will not be free again. It will lose its texture, and that is actually telling you that there is need for you to change the soil. Most often time as well, you find out that after a while, the mulching material that are in your pen become so bad that you will not even notice that mulching is in this pen again. And it's also a time when you should know that it's demanding for change. But most snail farmers, most importantly the beginners who doesn't have this knowledge, I don't know. Most of them, they leave their soil forever. For years, they are still using one particular soil. Mulching, the same thing. All they do is that they even get more. Out of that, they don't replace, they don't do anything. But the best practice is that from time to time, you change your soil. From time to time, change your mulching material. So at least you should be able to change your soil at least 5 months interval. Yes, at least 5 months interval. Why? Because once you start, you just introduce the soil, put your snail, you will find out that in your daily day-to-day routine management or cleanup, you find out that the snail, they poo-poo, they defecate on the soil, and as you are cleaning it, some particles still remains in the soil. When you feed them, as they are cleaning it, some food particles still remains in the soil. And these snails, they graze on the soil on a day-to-day basis. Daily, they graze on the soil. And as they graze on the soil, they take the nutrients that are on that particular soil. So over time, the soil will actually lose its nutrients. It will lose the nutrient that it contains to keep the snails agile, to keep the snails going. And that is why most time, after a while, you will now notice that your soil have actually started caking. They are now forming blocks. They are now in a block form. They are no longer loose. They are no longer free because the snail keep grazing on them on a constant basis. So that is why it's very important from time to time you look at the soil and you change it and introduce a new soil. And that is why most of you who have actually undergone my training, or most of you who have bought my ebook and have actually thoroughly read it, you find out that in your soil aspect, I talked about soil recycling. And that is the reason why I talked about that soil recycling. Most persons who are in a place where they don't easily get soil can recycle their soil and introduce it back again. But if you are in a place where you can easily get soil, problem, recycle this one and be using this one. When it's time, you can leave that one and reintroduce this one and recycle the one you have removed from your pen. So it's very important that from time to time you look at the soil and do what? Make sure that if it needs changing, you change it. Personally, what I do, best practice I do, let me share with you, is that on a daily basis or like interval of days, I make sure that because even in 2 days interval, you find out that the soil starts kicking, and you make sure that you make it loose again. You make sure that you make the soil to be free. Because if they are not free, the snail find it difficult to penetrate and to graze on it. But once the soils are always free and loose, the snail itself finds it more comfortable. They enjoy it most. And then within some time, I change my soil. Sometimes mine don't even reach to 5 months. Why I'm giving you 5 months is because for those that are actually beginners who might not know when it's time to change and when it's not time to change, at least that 5 months interval can be a maximum for you, which is still good practice. Me, I change once I notice that these soils are no longer good to be in this pen. I change, because you can never tell how the snails graze on those soils. So you need to understand and know that you don't ever need to leave your soil to stay for 1 year before you can start talking about how to change it. No. And that is why most person that leaves their soil in the same pen for almost 1 year, and 1 year that's thereabout, you find out that they're always running helter-skelter. They're always complaining of one problem or the other. Why won't you complain when the snails are already on the same soil that are no longer conducive for them? Definitely there will be an issue. So you must make sure that in your snail farm practice, don't leave your soil to stay as much as 1 year. Is not a good practice at all. For me, it's a no. Then, coming for the mulching aspect, your mulching, which is those leaves you put inside the pen, you must also know that with time they will become so bad that they don't longer need to be in that pen. As you keep watering the pen, as the snail keep grazing on them, the leaves will be so bad that they are no longer needed in that pen. So at least for the mulching aspect, you can be less than a month interval, or maximum 1 month. You should be okay. You are changing it. But personally as well, I like sharing my own personal experience on how I do my own. I don't necessarily wait for 1 month. I remove once I notice that it needs to be changed. Once I notice that this thing needs to be changed, I remove them, dispose those ones, put a new one. So you must actually look at them and know that does this thing actually needs changing at this particular point in time. Don't leave them till it becomes so bad that it starts giving your snails issue before you can now start talking about how you actually need to change them or how you actually need to remove them. No. It could be 3 weeks interval for the mulching materials. It could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 weeks, it could be 4 weeks. At most 1 month interval, you change them. So with this practice, you will find out that you have less problem, you have less challenges in your farm. Why? Because you are putting in the best practice that you are supposed to put in. Not when you are at 2 months interval, you are still using the same mulching material, or probably sometimes you just get small, add to it, and you continue. 1 year you are still using the same soil that you started your farm with. Why won't you be having issues in your farm? So please, let this video serve as a guide to know that you don't need to leave your soil in that same pen for 1 year without changing it. Please, you don't also need to leave your mulching material to stay for more than 1 month without changing it. If not, except you are comfortable, you are okay having issues in your farm. But if you are not, please make it a point of duty to make sure that you change your soil at least 5 months. Make sure you change your mulching material at least 1 month or less. Keep doing these things. As you are doing it, you will also be having less challenges or less problem to tackle in your farm. Thank you once again for watching, and remember, if you have not joined our Telegram group, the link is in the description of this video. Check the description, you see the link. Join. It's a group of farmers where we share problem, you have issue, you bring it up, we'll tackle it together. And also do well to subscribe to this channel, turn on the bell notification icon so that whenever I release an awesome video such as this, you are going to be notified. Thank you once again. Bye, and see you in our next video.